Far beyond the edge of known space, a bright world named Talara burned. Cities once tall and shining now lay in ruins. The people of Talara, called the Thalren, ran through streets filled with smoke and ash. They were small and delicate, with pale skin that shimmered under their planet's sun. Their eyes glowed faintly when they spoke, a sign of their advanced minds. But even their intelligence could not stop what was coming. The Vorash, a monstrous species of living machines, tore through the galaxy without mercy. They consumed every world in their path. Their ships were jagged and black, with endless tentacles that crushed buildings, ships, and lives. They did not speak. They did not bargain. They only destroyed. The Thalren had tried everything. Their fleets were powerful, their weapons precise, but the Vorash came in numbers too vast to count. Entire solar systems were already gone, and Talara was next. In a tall tower that had somehow survived, Laren Val, a Thalren scientist, worked frantically at a communications console. She pressed her thin fingers against glowing panels, sending messages to the stars. "Please, anyone," she whispered, "help us. We cannot survive this alone." The messages traveled faster than light, racing across the void, but replies were slow. Many empires ignored the Thalren's cries. Some sent polite messages saying they could not interfere. Others dismissed them as hopeless. Days passed. The Vorash drew closer. Laren could see their shadows in the sky, enormous shapes blotting out the sun. Panic spread through the city. Families tried to flee, but there was no place safe. Talara's defenses were already failing. Finally, a signal returned. It was faint and strange. The Thalren had never seen this kind of message before. It came from a blue planet far away, a world called Earth. The humans who sent the message were unlike any species the Thalren had met. Their ships were large and thick, armored with metals that could survive the heat of a planet's atmosphere. Their soldiers were bulky and covered in plates of armor. Their faces were hidden behind dark visors. But Laren noticed something unusual. Even in silence, these humans seemed alive with energy. They carried a strange confidence and a strange strength. The human voice crackled through the communication channel. It was Captain Laura Green speaking. "We received your distress call," she said. Her words were calm but firm. "Humanity will answer. We will not leave you to die." Laren blinked. The Thalren had expected arrogance or hesitation. They had expected polite refusal. But instead, these humans offered aid without hesitation, without negotiation, without fear. The other Thalren in the room gasped. One scientist whispered, "They are beasts." Laren frowned. "Beasts? No, they are strong, yes, fierce, but their hearts, I think they may be our salvation." The humans did not wait for permission. Within hours, their ships appeared in Talara's orbit. They were massive, hundreds of meters long, with weapons bristling from every hull. Small squads of soldiers were already dropping onto the planet in landing pods. The Thalren watched from their observation towers. They had never seen creatures move like this. The humans ran over debris as if it were nothing. They carried weapons that glowed with fire. Their armor clanged as they landed. They shouted, but not with fear. They shouted with purpose. Commander Ethan Cole, second in command under Captain Laura, led a group of Marines through the ruined city. He moved carefully, scanning every alley, every rooftop. "Keep your eyes open," he said. "We don't know what else is out there." The Thalren citizens peeked from hiding places, unsure whether to trust these newcomers. But when a squad of Vorash drones attacked a nearby building, the humans reacted instantly. Rockets fired and strange bright lines of energy struck the Vorash, tearing them apart. Humans charged forward while the aliens stayed frozen in awe. One Thalren child, hiding behind rubble, whispered, "They are like predators and predators," asked her mother. "Yes," the child said, "but they are not hunting us. They are protecting us." Captain Laura noticed the child and waved gently. "Stay behind us," she said. "We'll keep you safe." For the Thalren, it was impossible to comprehend. These creatures were so different from themselves. Yet somehow they brought hope. Laren walked alongside Ethan and Laura, studying every move. She noticed their strength, but also their teamwork. "They are like no one I have ever seen," she said softly. "They fight not for power, but for others." Ethan heard her and nodded. "Humans survive because we fight for more than ourselves. We fight for those who cannot." The Thalren began calling them Earth's beasts. At first it was meant as a warning, a word of fear. But over time it became a name of respect. These humans were dangerous, yes, but to the enemies of Talara they were unstoppable. The Vorash noticed the humans too. Their shadowy shapes recoiled slightly from the strange new power. They advanced slowly at first, as if unsure whether they could destroy these newcomers. But they did not stop. The humans would have to prove themselves in battle. In the days that followed, humans and Thalren worked together. Humans set up defensive positions, built walls of metal and energy, and taught the aliens how to move efficiently in battle. Laren helped, adapting human tactics to Thalren technology. One evening, as smoke rose from distant ruins, Laren spoke to Captain Laura. "You risk so much for a people you do not know." "Why?" Laura looked at the burning horizon. "Because no one should face death alone. If we can stop it here, even for a little while, we must." Ethan added quietly, "The galaxy may have ignored your cries, but we won't. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us strong." The Thalren looked at each other. Some had doubted humans at first. Some had feared them. But now they felt hope. Perhaps there was a chance. Perhaps Talara could survive. And so the first seeds of trust were planted. On the ruins of a dying world, two species stood together for the first time. One delicate and frightened, the other fierce and unyielding. The Vorash would not wait. They were coming faster than any of them could imagine. But the humans had arrived, and that was enough to turn the tide of fear into a glimmer of hope. Captain Laura turned to her team. "Rest tonight. Tomorrow we fight. Not for glory, not for pride, but for life." Ethan nodded. "For Talara." The humans looked at the ruins, the terrified Thalren, and the sky full of approaching shadows. Their faces were calm, their eyes determined. Laren whispered to herself, "They are truly the beasts of Earth, and they may be the only thing that can save us." Night fell on the ruined city. Fires still burned, and the Vorash still moved in the distance. But for the first time in months, the Thalren slept with a small comfort in their hearts. The humans were here, the beasts of Earth were here, and maybe, just maybe, they could survive. The next morning, the sky over Talara burned red. Smoke from the ruined cities mixed with the planet's thin clouds. The Vorash were approaching in numbers no one had counted. Their jagged black ships floated over the horizon like mountains in the sky. The Thalren trembled, but the humans moved forward without fear. Captain Laura Green stood on the highest hill near the ruined city. Her armor was scratched, her visor dusty, but her posture was firm. Around her, soldiers adjusted weapons, checked ammo, and readied their gear. Beside her, Commander Ethan Cole studied the incoming swarm. "They're close," Ethan said. His voice was calm. "We have one chance to stop them before they reach the city center." Laura nodded. "Then we fight like we always do. Together. No retreat." The Thalren watched from behind the hills. Many of them had never seen humans move like this. The soldiers did not hesitate. They ran across broken streets, jumped over rubble, and set up defensive positions in seconds. Their coordination was precise, almost instinctive. In the city below, Vorash drones landed. Their tentacles smashed buildings and crushed vehicles. They moved fast, but the humans were faster. Rockets and energy rifles lit the morning sky. Bright beams tore through the Vorash armor, making sparks fly. Sergeant Ryan Blake led a small squad down the streets. He ducked behind a fallen wall and peered at a Vorash drone that had spotted them. "Ready?" he whispered to his team. "Ready," they replied in unison. Ryan counted to 3. Then they fired. The Vorash screeched in mechanical fury as rockets hit its body. It fell with a heavy crash, sending debris flying. The humans did not pause. They moved forward, kicking aside rubble, pulling wounded Thalren out of the way and firing again. Laren Vale observed from a nearby hill. She had studied the humans' biology and behavior for weeks, but seeing them in battle was different. Their muscles were thick and strong, yet they moved with speed and precision. Their hearts beat faster under stress, but they never froze. The humans were beasts in human skin, and they used their strength for good. One Thalren, Talia, clutched her younger brother behind her. "Why do they fight for us?" she asked. "They are different," Laren said. "They do not fight for glory. They fight because it is right. That is what makes them extraordinary." Ryan's squad encountered a group of Vorash workers trying to capture a family of Thalren. The humans did not hesitate. They charged forward with shouts and gunfire. The Vorash were strong, but the humans were faster and smarter. They rescued the family, carrying the children to safety even as bullets and claws flew around them. When asked later why they risked their lives for strangers, Ryan simply said. We evolved on a death world. Protecting the weak is what we do. The Thalren began whispering the words, Earth's beasts. At first it was a warning, a way to describe their fear of the humans. But after seeing their courage, the name became a symbol of hope. Captain Laura coordinated attacks through her communication device. She spoke in calm, precise orders, and every soldier obeyed instantly. Ethan moved through the city alongside the infantry, guiding them through alleys and ruined buildings. Humans and Thalren worked side by side, learning from each other. The Thalren were quick to adapt, but their movements were delicate and slow compared to the humans' forceful efficiency. In one street, a Vorash drone lunged at a group of Thalren children hiding behind rubble. Without hesitation, Private Lila Harper, a young human soldier, jumped in front of them. She raised her weapon and fired. The drone exploded in a shower of sparks. The children stared in awe. Why did she risk herself? One asked. Because she is human, another said quietly. Because humans fight for others. By midday, the humans had built strong defensive positions. They placed energy turrets, set traps, and created walls from debris. The Vorash were relentless, but they hesitated at the humans' lines. These soldiers were not like other species. Their courage and strategy were unpredictable. Laren walked through the human camp, watching them rest and repair their weapons. They are monsters in the best way, she whispered to herself. They have strength and intelligence, but also heart. That combination, it is impossible to defeat. Captain Laura gathered her officers. The Vorash will not stop until they reach the city center, she said. We hold here or everything is lost. Remember, we fight for the Thalren. We fight for life. Ethan looked at the city below. They begged the stars for mercy, he said quietly. And we came. That is enough to make them fight. As night fell, the humans did not rest completely. Patrols moved through the ruins, keeping the Vorash at bay. Fires burned in the distance, painting the sky red and orange. The Thalren watched from hidden positions, unable to help but admire the humans' endurance. In one ruined building, Ryan and his squad sat beside a small fire. They cleaned their weapons and ate a simple meal. One of the soldiers, Jacob Mason, looked at the Thalren they had rescued. They are fragile, he said. But they are brave, too. I like that, Ryan nodded. Fragile or not, we protect them. That is our job. That is what makes us different. Laren observed them silently. She had studied courage in her species for decades. But human courage was different. It was not based on fear of shame or honor. It was instinctive, primal, and yet guided by intelligence. These humans were living proof that strength and compassion could coexist. Suddenly, alarms rang from the city. The Vorash were attacking again, faster and stronger than before. Captain Laura's voice crackled through the comms. Positions! Now, she ordered. Humans moved instantly. They ran, jumped, and fired. Energy beams streaked through the night sky. Explosions rocked the streets. The Vorash faltered when faced with human tactics they could not predict. The Thalren watched in disbelief as humans fought like animals. Smart animals, guided by purpose. In one alley, a Vorash drone cornered a human soldier. She raised her weapon, fired, and then rolled under the drone, striking its legs with a metal rod. Sparks flew. She jumped to her feet and ran, leaving the drone destroyed behind her. This is insane, Talia whispered to her mother. They are unstoppable. They are Earth's beasts, her mother said softly, and they are here for us. By dawn, the Vorash had been pushed back. The humans had lost some soldiers, but the city center remained intact. Captain Laura and Ethan walked among their teams, checking wounds and giving orders. We will hold, Laura said. We will survive. And tomorrow we strike back, Ethan nodded. The Thalren now understand. We are here to protect them. That is our gift. That is our strength. Laren finally spoke to Ryan. Your people, your species. It is incredible. I have never seen such courage and strength combined with mercy. You are Earth's beasts, and you are unlike anything else in the galaxy. Ryan smiled faintly. We just do what we have to do. Protect life, fight evil. That is what humans do. And if that makes us beasts, then I am proud of it. The Thalren began to believe. For the first time in months, hope returned to Talara. They saw that survival was possible, that the Vorash were not unstoppable, and that the humans were truly a force unlike any other. Captain Laura stood on a hill as the sun rose. Fires still burned in the distance, but the city had not fallen. She watched the humans preparing for the next wave of attack. They begged the stars for mercy, she said quietly. And we came. Tomorrow we will show the galaxy what humans can do. The humans' actions had changed the Thalren forever. They no longer saw themselves as alone in the galaxy. They had Earth's beasts fighting for them, and that knowledge made even the darkest night bearable. As the Vorash regrouped beyond the horizon, their massive shapes looming in the sky, the humans readied themselves once again. They did not tremble. They did not doubt. They were strong, fierce, and unyielding. They were humanity, and they were the last hope for Talara. The sky over Talara was filled with smoke and fire. The Vorash had returned. Their swarm was larger than ever, covering the horizon with jagged black shapes that moved like living shadows. Cities that had survived the first attack now trembled. The Thalren hid in their remaining shelters, trembling with fear. But the humans did not flinch. Captain Laura Green stood on a high ridge with Commander Ethan Cole at her side. Around them, human soldiers moved into positions, checking weapons, placing energy barriers, and coordinating artillery strikes. The swarm is massive, Ethan said. They will try to crush everything in one wave. Laura's eyes narrowed. Then we stop them. No hesitation, no mercy. We fight for life. The humans had spent the night preparing. They had built barricades, traps, and turrets. They had studied the Vorash movement and learned how to strike efficiently. The Thalren watched in awe as humans moved with purpose, their muscles strong, their minds sharp, and their courage unshakable. Sergeant Ryan Blake led a squad through a ruined district. Buildings that had survived the first attack were now unstable, but Ryan's team moved with careful speed. They carried wounded Thalren on stretchers and placed explosive charges along the Vorash's expected path. Private Lila Harper checked her weapon. "They're coming," she said quietly. Ryan nodded. "Stay sharp. Remember what we fight for." The Vorash appeared first in the distance as tiny black specks. Then they grew, covering the horizon, moving fast across the ground and sky. They screamed in mechanical fury, sending waves of fear and destruction. The humans responded instantly. Rockets and energy beams cut through the swarm. Explosions shook the earth, sending dust and debris into the air. The Vorash faltered for a moment, unused to such speed and precision, but they recovered and surged forward again. Captain Laura directed orbital strikes. Massive fireballs hit clusters of Vorash, lighting the city like a second sun. From the ground, Ethan guided squads through ruined streets, moving like a shadow with soldiers behind him. Every alley and corner became a battlefield. Laren Vol watched from a safe ridge beside a small group of Thalren scientists. Her hands shook slightly as she typed on her tablet, sending real-time data to the human command. She had never seen courage like this. Humans did not run. They did not hesitate. Even when surrounded, they fought with strength and intelligence. "They are unstoppable," she whispered. "Earth's beasts. They truly are." In one street, Ryan's squad encountered a massive Vorash carrier. Tentacles lashed out, smashing walls and vehicles. The humans did not retreat. They fired rockets and energy guns, dodging attacks while planting explosives along the carrier's legs. "Charge it," Ryan shouted. The squad ran forward, leaping over debris. The Vorash carrier lashed its tentacles, but the humans moved faster, striking with precision. Lila planted the final explosive and ran. Ryan's team pulled back just as the carrier exploded, sending shards of metal and fire into the air. The squad fell to the ground, breathing heavily but alive. Nearby, a group of Thalren watched in amazement. "How do they move like that?" one asked. "They fight like predators," another replied. "But their hearts? They protect, not destroy." Captain Laura's voice echoed over the comms. "Hold your positions. The next wave will come. Watch your allies, watch your surroundings, and remember why we fight." The Vorash did not stop. Another wave came, even larger than the first. They tore through streets, crushing buildings and chasing survivors. The humans met them head-on. Their energy weapons glowed like fire in the smoke. Rockets streaked through the air. Soldiers dodged, rolled, and fired again. Private Jacob Mason ran beside Ryan. "We can't let them reach the city center," he shouted over the roar. Ryan nodded. "We won't. Not while we live." The humans fought with a strange combination of intelligence and ferocity. They were like wolves hunting in coordinated packs. They protected the Thalren civilians, pushed back the Vorash, and kept the line intact. The Thalren began calling them heroes, but even that word seemed too small. Captain Laura noticed a Vorash war machine moving toward the Thalren central tower. It was massive, bigger than any other they had faced. If it reached the tower, it would crush everything inside. "We take it down," she said. "Ethan, you lead the team. Ryan, Lila, Mason, you're with us." Ethan gathered the squad. "This is it. One chance. Move fast, strike hard, and survive if you can." The humans ran through the ruined streets, dodging Vorash attacks. The war machine swung its massive limbs, smashing anything in its path. The humans fired rockets and energy blasts, striking weak points in the armor. The Vorash adapted, but the humans adapted faster. Laren watched from a hill as the humans climbed the war machine's legs, planting explosives at critical joints. She could barely believe her eyes. These were creatures small in size, yet their courage and skill made them larger than the galaxy itself. The final explosion shook the ground. The war machine collapsed, sending fire and smoke into the sky. The humans landed safely, breathing heavily but victorious. Captain Laura turned to the squad. "This is what we do. We fight, we protect, we survive." The Thalren who watched began to cheer, though their voices trembled. "They are Earth's beasts," someone said. "They will save us." The battle continued all day and into the night. Every street, every building, every ruin became a battlefield. The Vorash pushed harder, but the humans held faster, struck stronger, and protected more. Their determination inspired the Thalren to fight alongside them, using new tactics learned from the humans. By dawn, the Vorash began to retreat. Their numbers were too great, but the humans' courage and strategy forced them to fall back. Captain Laura surveyed the battlefield. The city was scarred, burned, and broken. Many humans had fallen, many Thalren had died, but the city still stood. Ethan walked beside her. "We held," he said quietly. "Talara is still alive," Laura nodded. "For now. But this is only the beginning. The Vorash will come again. We need to be ready." Ryan and his squad moved through the ruins, helping survivors and tending to the wounded. Lila and Jacob carried a Thalren child to safety. Every act of bravery, every saved life strengthened the bond between humans and Thalren. Laren approached Captain Laura. "Your species, it is unlike anything I have studied. You are not just strong, you are unstoppable. You fight for others, not for yourselves." Laura smiled faintly. "We fight because it is right. That is all. Protecting life is who we are," Ethan added. "If the galaxy has forgotten mercy, we bring it. If the stars have turned dark, we light the way. That is humanity." The Thalren began to spread the story of the humans. Tales of their courage and mercy traveled quickly. "Earth's beasts," they whispered to each other. "They will save us. They are our hope." Captain Laura looked at the rising sun. Fires still burned, smoke still filled the sky, and the Vorash still lingered beyond the horizon. But the humans did not fear. They had faced impossible odds, stood their ground, and won. "We will fight again," Laura said. "And we will win. Not for glory, not for power, but for life." The Thalren watched in awe. They had once begged the stars for mercy. Now they had Earth's beasts fighting for them, and that was enough to make even the darkest night bearable. As the humans prepared for the next wave, the Thalren understood something profound. Strength alone was not enough. Compassion, courage, and the will to protect others were what made these humans extraordinary. They were not just soldiers. They were legends in the making. The galaxy might have ignored Talara. The Vorash might have thought it was doomed. But humanity had arrived, and with them hope had returned. The ruins of Talara were quiet for a few hours, but the humans knew it would not last. The Vorash had not disappeared. They were regrouping, gathering larger numbers for a final strike. Captain Laura Green stood atop a cliff overlooking the city. The early morning light glinted off her armor. Beside her, Commander Ethan Cole studied the horizon, noting the dark shapes of Vorash carriers moving toward them. "They're coming back," Ethan said. "And stronger than before," Laura nodded. "Then we show them why humans are not to be underestimated. Prepare the squads. We will fight until the last breath if we must." The Thalren gathered nearby. Scientists, civilians, and soldiers alike watched the humans prepare. Laren Val moved quietly among them, organizing resources. She had adapted human designs to Thalren technology, creating powerful energy weapons and bioplasma charges. "They fight not only with their strength," she said to a young Thalren officer. "They fight with their minds and their hearts." In the ruined streets, Sergeant Ryan Blake led his squad through defensive lines. Explosives were placed in key areas, turrets manned, and barricades reinforced. Private Lila Harper checked her rifle again and adjusted her armor. "This will be harder than yesterday," she said. Ryan looked at her. "Yes, but we are humans. Hard is what we do best." As the Vorash approached, their numbers seemed endless. The air shook with the roar of their ships and the ground trembled under the weight of their machines. Buildings crumbled under their advance. The Thalren trembled, but the humans stood firm. Captain Laura gave her orders.
Squads Alpha and Beta hold the east flank.
Squads Gamma and Delta take the west. Ethan and I will lead the central strike. Remember, protect the civilians, stop the Vorash, and do not retreat. The first wave hit with terrifying force. Vorash machines smashed through barricades, their tentacles lashing at everything in sight. Humans fired back with energy rifles, rockets, and plasma cannons. Explosions lit the horizon. The air smelled of burning metal and ozone. Ryan's squad moved through a narrow street. A Vorash carrier blocked their path, its massive claws swinging. Lila fired her energy rifle at its joints while Ryan planted explosives along its legs. "Now, move," Ryan shouted. The explosives detonated and the carrier collapsed with a deafening crash. Nearby, Captain Laura led her squad through the central streets. She fired at Vorash drones, dodged debris, and guided Thalren civilians to safety. Ethan fought beside her, directing reinforcements to weak points. The humans worked like a single organism, coordinated and relentless. The Thalren watched in awe. They had called the humans Earth's beasts before, but now they saw the full meaning. These humans were not just strong, they were unstoppable, merciless against evil, yet merciful to the innocent. Laren moved through the battlefield, aiding in repairs and coordinating attacks. She deployed energy barriers and bioplasma charges, but it was the humans who made the difference. Even when surrounded, they fought with skill and strategy. Their courage inspired the Thalren to move beyond fear. Hours passed. The Vorash kept coming, but the humans held their lines. Sergeant Ryan noticed a Vorash hive ship descending from the sky, larger than any machine they had seen. "That's the mother hive," he said grimly. "If it reaches the city center, everything is lost." Captain Laura saw it too. "Then we take it down," she said. "Ethan, prepare the strike team. Ryan, Lila, Mason, you're with us. Everyone else hold the perimeter." "We cannot let it pass." The squad moved with purpose. They ran through rubble, avoiding tentacles and fire. Lila planted explosives on the hive ship's legs while Ryan and Mason provided cover. Captain Laura climbed onto a Vorash turret, firing at weak points in its armor. The ship shook violently, but the humans did not stop. From the cliffs, Ethan directed artillery and orbital strikes. Bright explosions lit the night sky. Sparks flew from the hive ship as humans and Thalren coordinated attacks, combining strength and intelligence. The final explosion was enormous. The hive ship collapsed, crushing smaller Vorash machines around it. Fire and smoke filled the air, but the humans landed safely. Captain Laura looked at her squad, all breathing heavily but alive. "We did it," Ryan said, voice shaking with exhaustion and relief. Laura nodded. "This is what humans do. We fight, we protect, and we survive. Always." The Vorash retreated, but they were not defeated. The humans and Thalren used the pause to regroup. They treated the wounded, repaired defenses, and prepared for the next attack. During a quiet moment, Laren spoke to Captain Laura. "Your species, it is extraordinary. You are not only strong, but intelligent, brave, and merciful. The galaxy does not deserve you." Laura smiled faintly. "We do not fight for glory. We fight for life. That is all that matters," Ethan added. "If the stars turn cold, humans will bring warmth. That is who we are. That is why the Thalren survived today." The Thalren began to understand. The humans were more than warriors, they were symbols of hope. Their courage inspired even the weakest. Their skill gave the Thalren strength they did not know they had. Night fell over Talara once more. Fires still burned, but the city had survived. Captain Laura stood on the cliffs looking at the battlefield. The humans were exhausted, but they were alive, and the Vorash had been pushed back. Ryan, Lila, and Mason moved through the streets, helping survivors and repairing defenses. Every act of bravery strengthened the bond between humans and Thalren. Every life saved reminded them why the humans fought. Laren walked beside Captain Laura. "You are more than warriors," she said. "You are legends." Laura looked at the city below, at the survivors, at the stars above. "We do what we must. Protect life, fight evil. That is humanity. And that is why the galaxy will remember Earth's beasts." As the humans prepared for the next wave, the Thalren spread the story of their courage. "Earth's beasts," they whispered. "They came for us and they will not let us fall." Captain Laura turned to Ethan. "The Varash will return, but we will be ready. We fight not for glory, not for power, but for life, and that is what makes us strong." The humans had shown the galaxy that strength alone was not enough. Courage, intelligence, and the will to protect others were what made them extraordinary. They were not just soldiers, they were heroes, legends, and saviors. And the Varash, no matter how many came, would have to face Earth's beasts again. The morning sun rose over Talara, casting long shadows across the ruined city. Smoke still drifted from burning buildings, and the air carried the smell of ash and metal. The Varash had not disappeared. Their massive ships hovered beyond the horizon, gathering forces for one final assault. But humanity was ready. Captain Laura Green stood on a hill overlooking the battlefield. Her armor was scratched, her rifle slung over her shoulder, but her eyes burned with determination. Beside her, Commander Ethan Cole scanned the horizon. The humans had prepared every street, every building, every ruin for the coming fight. "This is it," Laura said quietly. "The last wave. We hold this city or everything is lost." Ethan nodded. "We fight not just for Talara, but for hope itself. If we succeed, the Thalren will live. If we fail—" His voice trailed off. Laura put a hand on his shoulder. "We do not fail. We never fail." In the streets below, Sergeant Ryan Blake and his squad moved among the Thalren civilians, helping them to safety. Private Lila Harper checked her energy rifle and gave encouragement to frightened families. Private Jacob Mason loaded explosives along the main avenues. Every human was ready, calm, and determined. The Thalren watched in awe. They had called the humans Earth's beasts before, but now they understood why. These humans were more than warriors. They were living legends, fearless and strong, willing to risk everything for others. The first wave of Vorash descended. Their black ships filled the sky and massive ground machines smashed through barricades. But the humans did not flinch. Rockets fired, energy beams streaked across the sky, and explosives tore through enemy ranks. Ryan's squad moved forward, leaping over rubble, dodging tentacles and planting charges on Varash machines. Lila fired at weak points in the Varash armor, while Jacob provided cover. The humans worked together like a single organism, moving with coordination and purpose. Captain Laura and Ethan led the central strike. They ran through ruined streets, guiding civilians and attacking the Varash. Laura fired at incoming drones while Ethan deployed heavy artillery to hold the enemy back. Laren Vale watched from a hill with other Thalren scientists. She directed energy shields and bioplasma charges, but the humans made the real difference. Even surrounded, they fought with skill and courage, saving the Thalren again and again. Hours passed. The Varash kept coming, larger and stronger with every wave, but the humans held their ground. Every life saved, every machine destroyed, strengthened the Thalren's faith. Finally, the massive Vorash mothership descended toward the city center. Its tentacles smashed buildings, and smaller Vorash followed behind like a river of darkness. If it reached the city, all would be lost. Captain Laura took a deep breath. "This is our moment. Strike hard. Strike fast. Protect the city at all costs." Ethan nodded. "Squads Alpha and Beta take the east. Gamma and Delta take the west. Ryan, Lila, Mason, you're with me. Everyone else hold the perimeter." The squads moved through streets filled with fire and smoke. The Vorash mothership towered above them, but humans did not hesitate. Rockets struck its joints, energy beams sliced its armor, and explosives weakened its legs. Ryan planted the final charge at the base of the ship. "Go," he shouted. The squad ran to safety as the explosion rocked the streets. The Vorash mothership collapsed in a storm of fire and debris, crushing smaller Vorash machines beneath it. The battlefield fell silent for a moment. Smoke and dust filled the air, but the humans stood alive. Captain Laura looked at her squad. "We did it," she said simply. Ethan surveyed the city. "Talara is safe. For now." The Vorash had retreated, their forces scattered into the void. The humans had won the impossible battle. The Thalren slowly emerged from their hiding places. They had watched their world burn, feared for their lives, and now they saw it survive because of humans. Tears ran down faces, some of joy, some of sorrow for those lost. Laren Vale approached Captain Laura. "Your people, your species, it is incredible. You are not just strong, you are intelligent, brave, and merciful. You saved our world when no one else would. Laura shook her head. We do what we must. We protect life. That is humanity. That is all we ask, Ethan added. If the stars turn cold, we bring warmth. If life is in danger, we fight. That is why we came. That is why humans are Earth's beasts. The Thalren began to call the humans not only Earth's beasts but heroes, saviors, legends. They built memorials and told stories of bravery and mercy. Every Thalren citizen who had survived whispered their thanks. In the weeks that followed, the humans helped the Thalren rebuild. Cities rose from the ashes. Technology and knowledge were shared, and the Thalren learned new ways to defend themselves. The humans did not stay to rule. They simply guided, protected, and then left Talara stronger than before. Captain Laura stood at a newly built memorial, looking at the names of fallen soldiers, both human and Thalren. Beside her, Ethan, Ryan, Lila, and Mason stood quietly. Laren placed her hand on the memorial. You gave us life. You risked everything for us. The galaxy will never forget you. Laura's voice was soft. We did what anyone should do. Protect the innocent. Fight the evil. That is all. Ethan looked at the stars. The Thalren begged the stars for mercy, he said. And we answered. That is humanity. The Thalren honored the humans who had fought beside them. Statues were built, stories were told, and songs were sung. Children learned about the bravery of Captain Laura, Commander Ethan, Sergeant Ryan, Private Lila, and Private Jacob. Humanity became a symbol of courage, mercy, and hope in the galaxy. The humans returned to their ships, ready to continue exploring the stars. They had shown the galaxy that even small, fragile beings could make a difference, that even in the darkest times, courage and compassion could prevail. Before leaving, Captain Laura addressed the Thalren one last time. We will always fight for life. Protect your people and never forget the power you have inside. And remember, the galaxy is never as dark as it seems. There is always hope. The Thalren bowed their heads in respect and gratitude. Laren whispered, They are Earth's beasts, and they brought us mercy when no one else would. As the human ships lifted off Talara, the Thalren watched the sky. Fire still burned, but they were not afraid. They had survived. They had hope. And they would never forget the humans who came when the stars ignored their cries. Captain Laura looked at her team. We did our job. We saved a world, and maybe, just maybe, we changed the galaxy a little. Ryan smiled. That's what humans do. We fight, we survive, and we protect others. Always. Lila laughed softly. Even if they call us beasts, I'll take it. We earned it. Ethan nodded. The galaxy will remember this day. The story of Talara, and the Earth's beasts who came for them. The ships disappeared into the void, leaving Talara behind. The Thalren began to rebuild their world with hope and courage. Humanity had shown them that strength, intelligence, and mercy together could overcome any enemy. And somewhere among the stars, Captain Laura, Ethan, Ryan, Lila, and Jacob flew onward, ready for the next call for mercy, ready to face any challenge. They were humans. They were Earth's beasts, and they had saved a world the galaxy would never forget.